There's a huge difference between being interested and being motivated. Let me explain.
This is your first day in real estate, and I am your real estate sales trainer and coach, James Festini. And this is the program that's going to teach you how to sell more real estate in less time.
I've got a huge lead problem. I've got a lot of leads. I've got about 2,000 leads as I went through my database earlier. I'm in lead hell right now because leads are easy, especially if you're willing to pick up the phone and prospect or knock on doors. You're going to generate a lot of leads. If you buy inquiries from the internet and you are actually following up on those inquiries and you have filtered them and identified them as a lead and you spend a lot of money getting that, you have a lead problem too. You've found a lot of leads in your database, but you just can't seem to filter them. What is this? What do we do when we have so many leads? I've discovered a solution to that. The solution is to identify interest versus motivation. You see a parrot, I would say a monkey, but monkeys can't talk. So let's say a parrot could close a motivated lead. But a skilled closer closes that same lead. A skilled closer knows when they're motivated. A skilled closer knows when they're not. So I know that there's people out there who think they can sell ice to Eskimo. But if they don't need ice, you're basically scamming them, right? If they don't need ice, why would you sell ice to Eskimo? See, I want to find people who are motivated, that have a purpose, so that when I provide them my service, residential real estate, help them buy or sell, that when that transaction begins, because that transaction is much faster than buying a bag of ice, it's 30-day escrow, sometimes 6 months worth of searching or marketing time, right? You want to make sure that they are totally convinced that the decision that they're making is the right thing. How do you get them to do that? They have to be motivated. You see, if they're interested and you close them so many times, man, I'm a good I stopped being such a good closer because back in the day, I would literally be so good at closing people. I'll never forget this one where I got a listing agreement, right? And then the sign showed up and the homeowner called and says, "Why is there a sign in my front yard?" I'm like, "'Cause we listed." He goes, "Well, yeah, but I'm not ready to sell yet." I'm like, "Well, what about the contract? Like we said." He goes, "Yeah, but I thought that." I'm like, "No, you know what? Clearly I used my talent, my knowledge for evil because you're not ready, old man." So I took the sign down and, it actually was probably about 6 months before he was truly motivated to sell. You can have someone who's very interested. I mean, we're talking like hot, like level 10 hot, 1 through 10, level 10, level 9, level 10 would be hot. But there's these varying degrees of motivation. So right now I'm going to be working, or I have been working with, it's not enough to say hot, warm, cold to identify motivation. We have to have a motivation scale, some sort of data set, some points of reference, some key triggers, words or actions, behaviors, conversations that have to happen with a potential client to say, you know what, they're ready, let's just naturally close. You've heard that before. A closing is a natural ending to a good presentation, right? When you are with a motivated seller and you sit down and you talk over price and terms, there's this moment where there's like, "So what do you think, Mr. Seller?" And they're like, "Yeah." "Oh, great. Let's pull out the paperwork. Let's sign the contract. Let's get this started. Let's rock and roll." Whatever your closing buffers are, they're motivated. It just happens. No matter if you puke on the table and you clean it up, you could still get the listing. Even if you have to excuse yourself to go to the bathroom because you got bad stomach, and it takes you like 10 minutes. And they're like wondering if you're in the bathroom dropping a deuce. And then you come back and you're like, "Ooh, that was hard." I've been there. That's why I'm relating to it. you'll still get the listing because they're motivated, right? Hell, think about what we were going through during the pandy about not long enough ago. That's motivation. When you got somebody to sell during a global pandemic, you got someone to live, to like say, come on in, because no one knew back then what it was. Nobody knew back then what it was. So for them to invite you into their house, they had to be incredibly motivated to do that. So I'm encouraging you now, ladies and gentlemen, to identify the difference. Recognize the words and behaviors in the conversations and be real with yourself. There is a difference. I actually got this because I was writing it down. There is a difference between interest and motivation. One of the notes I put here is, like I said, a parrot can close a motivated lead. A skilled closer knows they're motivated. You can't close those that are not ready. So when you collect all of these leads and you think to yourself, man, why am I not closing? How come I'm making so many calls? I can't seem to close them. It's because they're not motivated. And you need to hurry up and find out the varying degrees of motivation and put them in those pockets so that it's your expectation and your words and behavior and follow up and consistent attack to try to get them to sign a contract is in its right place and time. When they're ready, they are a level 10. So I'm having my databases now, instead of just saying hot, warm, cold with a high, medium, low callback story, it is now, or frequency, it is now levels of M, motivation, M1 to 10. So if somebody is a lead today, says they're interested, but now they're no longer interested and they've changed their mind, once upon a time they were a lead. And I don't want to just throw them into what I would call Gen Pop. I would hold on to them. But when I called them, I knew that they weren't, like they still weren't. But once upon a time they were. I say it's like a cavity. When a dentist, you have a cavity, you can avoid a cavity for years, but you know it's there. So they have that cavity and you're the dentist, and they called in and said, I need to get this taken care of. And then they canceled the appointment, but they never filled the cavity. They just live with it. But what happens at some point, that cavity is going to get so big and you just need to be there at the right place at the right time. So I'm putting these varying degrees of groups inside of Mojo that are M1 through 10. And every conversation, every engagement is going to either be a plus or a minus point based on the results of that previous conversation. Was it a positive conversation? Did they say they were still interested, that they're in 2 or 3 months though? Well, maybe that's like they say they're really interested. Remember, interest versus motivation. They say they're really interested in 6 months. Then that's probably an M5 because they're not right now, but they are warm. So maybe these motivation, I say M, these motivational factor of 5 through, 1 through 10, maybe 7, 8, 9 was hot, and maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 was warm, and maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 was cold, but you knew they were once upon a time. And then a 0 is just the phone book, right? You call a complete stranger, there's 0 motivation until you identify it. Just like someone walking into an open house. Are they a lead? No. You'd have a conversation. Are they a lead? Yes. What are they? 1 through 10. M1 through 10. So I'm saying it here now. It's going to be in Mojo, but I'm working on this thing. It's a word that, let me say it now. Lead qualification. I heard the word yesterday. I'm trying to remember what that word was. But there's the lead motivating factor. You know what? I wrote it in my journal what that word was, because I've been trying to struggle with it. And I know that because I'm full-time doing this all the time, that here it is. Probability matrix. Listen to these words because they're going to be mainstream in the next 2 years, and you're hearing it here first if it's even been said. But I guess I'll say I've coined them because I haven't heard them, but I've heard people speaking of these things, and CRMs are touching in this space. And what I'm calling it is a probability matrix. similar to softwares out there who there's been a few lately where they say it's likely that they'll sell, or the probability of them selling is based on some factors. They've been in the house for the last 15 years. They've got, an interest rate above 5%. So their probability is maybe a little bit higher because they've got equity and they're older, or maybe there's some other scores or metrics that they're using to identify motivation. But at the end of the day, maybe they're not. So it's a matrix, it's not like one of those vertical scales, but it's all sorts of factors that come into the scoring of the lead. So moving forward, we're going to look whether they're motivated or they're just interested. And many times you'll find that their motivation is based on, their objections are based on either a condition, an immovable object like a graduation or a job transfer, or something that is there that can't be done. Interest rates, for example, when they say my interest rates suck, you can't move that object. Is there an alternative? How motivated are they? Well, we bought a house, 2 or 3 years ago. We bought 1,000 square foot 2-bedroom house, or we bought a 900 square foot 1-bedroom condo. I met a girl. She got pregnant. We got twins. Interest rates suck. What's the probability score? What is the lead score of someone like that? Okay, a single bachelor who bought a 900 square foot apartment, right? Just had twins with his brand new wife 3 years later. 900 square feet, 4 people, and they're growing and eating a lot. What's his job, right? Probability matrix will include what's his job situation. Is his financial situation changed? Does his wife work? Because if his wife works, now you have dual income, so they can't afford a new place. Ooh, probability matrix. Does it say that he'd be considering renting, or does he have to sell that? What's the motivation there to sell this house because they have to buy a new one? Well, they need the money from here to there. So now we're looking at a listing probability lead scoring matrix that shows you what are the metrics that give you something that we all know as closers, but we didn't know it before. Now that we are, some of us, very skilled closers, the internet and society has raised us and cultivated really good closers. But now as closers, we need to now rely on technology to assist us, because now we are capable of lead generation and we are capable of closing. The difference is going to be closing on motivated versus interested. And never before have I, in my 30 years of doing this as a professional closer, telemarketer, a hustler, whatever you want to call me, I know one thing for sure. It's very easy to generate a lead. It's not that easy to identify motivation versus interest. You can have the most interested person who really, really wants to sell, right? Mr. Homeowner wants to sell really, really bad. But according to Festini's probability matrix, which asks the second question, man wants to sell. Is man married? Here's the matrix. Man is married. Yes. Okay. What's the wife say? The wife says, no way. We're not leaving California. My mother and father live here. All my kids are in this school. I'm not changing the schools, period. Probability matrix just went from a 10 with the man to a 1 with the woman. What now? We got to focus on her probability matrix. He's covered. Hers is what matters. The schools, will she move after the season or before the season? These probability matrices will lead you to the questions that you should be asking, that should automatically evolve in the conversation based on if you can identify the problem, right? Like a doctor. When you step into the doctor's office, they weigh you, right? They weigh you, they check your pulse, they check your temperature. Why did they do that? Why do they hit your knee with that rock? Why do they do that? Because they need a foundation. What we do is we ask preliminary questions, a foundation, right? And then they say, what ails you? Well, doctor, my arm, right? You didn't need to weigh them for your arm, but maybe there's some other symptoms as to why your arm hurts, right? But they need to do the fundamental questions to find out, are they sick? Do they have that cavity? Are they interested or are they motivated? And can we measure interest on a motivational sliding scale? I believe so. And 1 through 10. And that's what I'm doing. Inside of my system, I've created a group. I'm not solely categorizing them in these groups, but they are being identified as, or tags. You can use them as tags if you use other software. Tags M1 through M10. And then, of course, a phone book is just M0. And we no longer have to say hot, warm, cold. We know if it's a 10, you should have a high frequency of follow-up. It shouldn't be a 10 means you're there. Maybe there isn't a 10. Maybe a 10 means you've closed for an appointment. Maybe an M10 means the next call you make will be an appointment. I've got so many leads right now, and I've organized them through my hot, warm, cold spectrum. And my wife has always come to me and said, who's your top 10? Who's your top 10? Well, now I can say who my top 10 are. How many M9s do I have? How many M9s do you have? How many M7s do you have? Those are something. M7s, 8s, and 9s should be getting a letter, an email. M9s should be getting brownies, right? They should be getting offerings to entice them to work with you. Hell, other businesses do it. Why aren't we? When they're M9 with the inventory so low, why are you dismissing them? Oh, because you can get a lead somewhere else. What quality on the Festini probability matrix are they? Yeah, I'm getting tons of leads. They're all below M5s. So then they're not leads. Let's talk about the 8s and 9s. How many of those do you have? So today, go into your database and think to yourself, how many of these are 8-9s? 8 or 9s? And how many of them fall below 5? How many of these people have we been keeping in touch with because they've shown a high level of interest, but at a certain point, they've been showing a high level of interest for a long time. Are they motivated? They've been interested for an awfully long time. I'm thinking of a guy, Ruben M. Is Ruben M, is he motivated? Because he checks my system all the time. He opens my emails. He even touches that button that says, how much is my home worth? So I'm like seeing, whoa, all the signs, man. He checks, he's doing, all the signs are there. All the call to actions are being triggered. But what's stopping them from making that move? Again, a script that leads you down the path of forcing an answer. That's why I like active real estate prospecting, because I can say right now, what is forcing you? What is stopping you? What motivates you and what doesn't motivate you? What is stopping you from selling your house in a market that is clearly a seller's market, where the house prices have never been this high? Mr. Homeowner, what is stopping you from moving? Well, this condition. Okay, now we have a condition. They're motivated, but there's an immovable object. Now we can identify that and move on. So thank you. Hopefully I've enlightened you guys. I appreciate you watching. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. I do one-on-one coaching. If you want to take it to the next realm, call me. I'm available. All right? That's all. Just what I say. It's been so long since I've said, oh yeah, get back to work.
Now, have you seen my amazing local market videos for my real estate business? In one word, Terradatum. They make videos branded to your brokerage and automatically update them every month with videos by zip code, county, city, and your hyper-local market, and it's extremely affordable. Have you guys seen my website lately? Well, you should. It's absolutely gorgeous. I owe it all to Zentap. They will help you with your advertising using your MLS, IDX, and social media to attract an audience and engage your leads using sophisticated bots. Now, you're gonna need a powerful CRM to manage all of this, and as you know, Mojo Selling Solutions is more than just a dialer. It's the most powerful CRM bar none. Mojo provides you expireds for sell by owners, and that is the third list of data, along with email and mail campaigns. For more information on any of these products, along with my personal coaching and training products, go to jamesfestini.com today.